Thank you very much, dear colleagues from the media, for coming to this press briefing. And as you have seen, I'm being flanked by IPSs, ideally from the youth wings of our party, because 2021 and the change that must come will have to come from the young people. This is our moment to change this country for good. So the young people are taking the right place to ensure that change can happen to this country. We have waited far too long. Time has now come for us to effect the change that Zambia needs. This morning, I just have a few issues. Number one, through you colleagues, the media, I would like to update our membership and the nation on the adoption process that is going on right now, the applications, and of course, the adoption and nomination within the UPND. I'd like to state that this year is different for the UPND. This year is different for Zambia. I think it is fair to say, for the first time, UPND now has an average of 4 applicants per constituency across the nation. That is average. So there is an overwhelming response for people wanting to stand on the UPND ticket. This, for us, is not just encouraging, but a signal that UPND has become of age to take the reins of governance. And on that score, I would like to state that in line with what the elections chairperson, Honorable Kombo, stated, that the UPND had extended receiving of applications for another 1 week, meaning this week up to, say, Friday, Saturday. We have since, as UPND, made amendments to some of the rules governing qualification to stand as Member of Parliament, to stand as mayor, chairperson, or councillor. You will recall that we had put as one of our rules or regulations that for one to be a member, to contest as a candidate, you needed to have been a member of the UPND for 2 years. The party has since waived or abolished that rule. Anyone now who wants to contest on the UPND ticket, even if you join today, you qualify to be a candidate on the UPND ticket. This is in keeping with the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. We cannot afford to make rules that contradict the Constitution. The Constitution of the Republic of Zambia spells out the qualification or qualifications for one to contest as a Member of Parliament, mayor, chairperson, or councillor. And therefore, the party, we cannot begin to prescribe the rules to eliminate people who would want to contest on the party ticket against the rules or the law set out in the Constitution. So, anybody You can join UPND today. You will stand on the UPND ticket. The main qualification now is your relationship with the people. If you are with the people, you are on the ground, the grassroots are supporting you. That is the number one qualification. So I would like to invite colleagues across, including those who are from PF. The door is open. UPND is a party of choice. You see, something unprecedented has happened this year, where a ruling party is saying they will not announce the names of candidates they will adopt until the nomination day. They are in panic mode. They are afraid. They are trying everything they can to hold on to the membership they have. Look at what they have done even. Working with ECZ, that for one to contest in these elections, you need to pay to ECZ the nomination fee from 1st to 9th of May before Parliament is dissolved. Does that make sense? You must allow Parliament to dissolve. When Parliament has dissolved, then everyone is free to belong and associate with a party of their choice. But they are saying pay. So if I'm going to go and pay on the 1st or 2nd of May, 2 weeks before Parliament is dissolved, I go to the bank, I'm paying a nomination fee. I will be paying to stand on which ticket? If PF will only be announcing their candidates, say, on the nomination day, so the candidates who will go to pay, they will be paying to stand on which ticket? You see these distortions? These are indicators the government is on its way out. There is no need to panic. They will not be the first ones to leave government. I must also add that the 4 candidates per constituency across the nation as an average that I've stated does not include the colleagues who are coming through from NDC. So when you add those coming through from NDC, I think we'll have an average of 6 per constituency. And for other people, or some people who could be asking questions, what are you saying about Honorable Kamwiri? The party position is that we are not going to comment on our brother, Honorable Kamwiri's decisions. Those or that are his constitutional rights to belong to and associate to a party of his choice. We will not say anything except to say that the time we spent with him was a good moment. We learned a lot about PF through him. And as things stand, the only thing that I think need to be bemoaned, not by the UPND per se, but by Zambians, is that the turn of events relating to my elder brother, Honorable Kamwiri, has undermined the fight against corruption. Because he was well outspoken, stating facts on the, relating to and respect to the fight against corruption, only for him to U-turn and begin to apologize to President Lungu and say he was misinformed. We think that that kind of politics is not good for Zambia going forward. Politicians must be predictable. Politicians must say things that they can stand with at any given time, regardless of circumstances. That way, people will learn and accept to trust politicians. If politicians can't be trusted, yet they are the people who make decisions to govern a country, then we are risking the integrity of governance. Politicians must be trusted people. That is why for us in the UPND, we have remained resolute. Political parties have been formed after the UPND's inception. They have gone under. We have remained resolute. Not because we support HH, no. Because we support the idea that Zambia can be better. And politicians must learn to project that image that citizens look up to them for reliability. I will not say much because I've said we don't want to talk about our brother, Honorable Kambi. We appreciate the time we spent with him, and the nation understands the circumstances he is in. People are made different, and they will react differently to different circumstances. If it is HH, he was incarcerated for 4 months for treason when he didn't do or say anything treasonous. And envoy after envoy were sent to Mukobeko to coerce HH into submission to worship His Excellency President Edgar Lungu. HH did not submit because he knew that I stand for people. People out there are suffering. We need a leadership that can stand for them under whatever circumstances. We are happy that we are working well with the NDC and its membership. And this brings me to a point of what transpired when the UPND was in an alliance with the Patriotic Front in 2011. Many of you will recall that PF was a bigger party at that time, nationally. And UPND sought to play jokes by coming out of the pact. But it was for a very good reason. You will recall that HH said, voting for PF is like jumping out of a frying pan into the fire. This is where we are. No one can argue anymore. But the political side of it is that when the pact broke, the people who were in the pact, the majority of them, a number of them who were UPND, remained with PF in the pact. This is what has happened with NDC, UPNDC alliance. The people have remained. A few can leave, but the people have remained because of the objective that is there to be achieved for this country to deliver change. So people out there should be confident about the prospects that are poised for August 2021. Let me conclude on that note by saying that we welcome, as UPND, anybody who wants to contest on the UPND ticket, be it that they are civil servants or they've just retired. We are not like PF, who put a rule, and I think they had a date, somehow was it 2nd March or something like that, to say, if you want to contest on PF ticket by this date, you must have resigned from the civil service. They did that because they are scared of quality competition from civil servants. They want to monopolize politics, a very important enterprise of governing a nation, to jokers like Bowman Lusam, to be ministers, Bowman Lusam. Jokers. Because Bowman was supposed to continue to be a die-hard supporter of MMT. When you see a government with ministers like Bowman or something, then you know that that government can't make progress. With a bunch of money, bakateka chienda rama mwatu pere, natu itaturefa tupera abantu. Man, a minister. Then a country is gone. And if people continue to joke around with elections, very soon we will not have a country. We will be like a mafia state where a clique who have money can use violence to remain in power and continue to siphon state funds for their own benefits. Look at them. Was this Reverend or Bishop Chomba, the water man, going around with brown envelopes, a former permanent secretary, without shame. The MP for Chiranga, going around dishing money. No, increase your capital, increase your capital. At a time when ordinary citizens have no money, we plead with the people not to accept to be bought and deceived. These monies they are distributing and the money they are boasting about sleeping on mattresses full of money and whatever is the money that should have been coming through the channel of ministries for service delivery to the people. But if people want to continue this game, someone brings a t-shirt, 20 kwacha, chibuku, you exchange it with a vote. That's a business. But don't say we were not taught. We will continue to plead with the people to hear us. Let us change this government. We will look after them. Let us return to decency. You can't have a situation where cadres have become stronger than institutions of government. Police officers now have lost their dignity. Cadres can commandeer police. For you now, and I'm passionate about police, you know me, I'm a former police officer. For you to be promoted now in Zambia police, you need connection and not qualification. We have graduates from universities who are still constables because they have no connection. But cadres are rising. Children of those in authority, they will get employed and in no time they become bosses. This must come to an end. But the power doesn't lie with the UPND. It lies with the people. We have listened for a very long time. People say, no, what will HH do? No, HH this. Why is it HH saying this? Why? It is you, the people. You now have your time also to say something to PF. And let us be seen as a country, to be serious with our country. This is the only country we have. The second issue, I wanted to update our membership and through you colleagues from the media, the nation, is the issue of the continued abduction of our Honorable Sejani, the mayor for Choma, Mr. Javen Smoloka, the mayor for Mazabuka, Mr. Vincent Delanda, and a businessman for Choma, Mr. Fines Malamo. These people are taken custody, or in short, abducted by Zambia police last week Sunday, placed in custody, and today they have clocked 8 days, no charge, detained. The legal team of the UPND has made frantic efforts to engage the police to try and ensure that these people are brought before the courts of law. Thursday and Friday, police, those who are involved in this case, literally fled their offices. Their offices were locked because they have no answer. And we sympathize with Zambia police. They are not the ones at fault. It is PF trying to find a fault, trying to implicate HH in the alleged abduction of Feluna and Milton Hatem. You can see what is going on even on social media today, on PF platforms. Putting Honorable Sejani, Fines Malambo, the mayor for Choma and Mazabuka to say these are the abductors of the Hatembos who have disappeared for the last 2 months. How can people disappear for the last 2 months? 2 weeks ago they had a live press briefing in Choma. Police and me know where these people are. If you ask Zambia police today, they know where these people are. We have told police where these people are. They know. But they are trying to concoct and cook an issue that people have been abducted just to try and get to HH. It won't work. This morning I spoke to HH before this briefing. He directed me to inform our membership to say, let them come down. There's been a lot of pressure from across the country to say, can people begin to stage demonstrations to liberate those people who have been abducted by the state? HH has said, don't. Let us not play in the trap of PF. He has said, calm down. HH was incarcerated for 4 months, he came out. These will come out. These are the kicks of a dying horse PF government. And on that note, may I now update the nation that on Friday, the High Court for Zambia, sitting in Livingstone, heard the application by the UPND on an application of habeas corpus that those people, Honorable Sejani and 3 others, be, presented before the court for the justice machinery to be in motion. And the High Court for Zambia, sitting in Livingstone, granted leave that Honorable Sejani and 3 others be produced before the High Court for Livingstone on the 13th of April 2021, 2 weeks from now. That is to say, in the event that Zambia police does not give them police bond or take them to court. So that order for habeas corpus does not preclude or inhibit Zambia police from giving them police bond or in any event taking them to court. But what we are clear about is that at least in the next 2 weeks, those people are supposed to be taken before the High Court. We realize that we are dealing with a government whose leadership has no respect whatsoever for the rule of law. They are using emotions and not reason. They are not using the law. They are using their thoughts. It's very unfortunate for this country to reach these levels. But I'm in constant touch with those colleagues on a daily basis. They're in very high spirits, and they do understand why they are there. This is what it takes to fight a regime such as PF. You will end up having more people arrested like that, no charge whatsoever. Frank Tayari, come and sit. You're welcome, my brother. Yeah, you know, Frank Tayari was the founder. Under Mazoka, he was the national youth chairperson for the UPND. I know that some of you journalists, you may not know this, so I have to brief you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you for coming, my brother. Yeah, so I think that is the situation on the current events relating to the detention and lawful detention of those people. So we'd like to plead once more with their families and friends that those have accepted the situation they find themselves in and that they will come out soon. This is what it takes to fight PF. The last thing maybe that I should be talking about this morning is the issue to do with the cyber security bill, which President Lumumba hurriedly assented to a few days ago. We want to tell the nation that HH has committed that one of the first acts he will do, given the opportunity to be president of this country, is to repeal the cyber security bill. That is one of the first things ever he will do. He has committed to that. Look, the freedoms of the people of this country have been invaded. We have a situation where, when you have to talk about the public broadcasters, it is not what people want to say that should be heard, it is what the state wants the people to hear. Feeding the nation on a menu of lies. So the only platform that remained for people to communicate truth was the social, media space. And they've now gone into that space to shrink it, close down the space. That is unacceptable. The nation will recall that, in fact, PF lost the legitimacy to rule this country a long time ago. Because when they brought a referendum to change the Bill of Rights, in that referendum of 2011, we beat them to the game. They lost. A referendum has more voters than in a general election, because even one without a voter's card does vote in a referendum. And we beat them. They lost the attempt to amend the Bill of Rights. The second referendum they called was to remove Zambia from the International Criminal Court so that they can be at large to commit crimes against humanity in Zambia without recourse to international, court jurisdiction. Thank you. We went out to urge the people of Zambia to reject that, and we beat them. In 5 years, 2 referenda, and they lost both. The third referendum was Butane. We beat them. The cyber security bill, if it was a vote by 2/3 majority in parliament, it would not have passed. We know we have a few sellouts, but it would not have passed. People of Zambia have to endure the next 3 months. And we want to take this opportunity to advise especially our membership to be careful with what they send on social media, because we know this cybersecurity bill was crafted in order to pin down UPND. So our membership, be careful now what you send. Because even if it is a bad law, it is law. It is only 3 months. HH has pledged to repeal this cybersecurity, law. Again, HH will not repeal this cybersecurity law if the people of Zambia don't support him to become president. I shudder to think what will happen to this country if PF were given another 5 years. Of late, you have seen their demeanor. They have toned down. I hope you are seeing what I'm saying. They have toned down in order to mislead and hoodwink people. These are evil people. PF is a collection of, it's like a collection of a criminal gang. That's what they look like to me. Like a collection of a criminal gang which has been handed power to govern a country in a mafia-style arrangement. This August is the last chance we have to redeem this country. It is not HH, it's not UPND. It is the people to decide that to happen. UPND and HH are just a platform for the people's wishes. Let us make this happen. Let us ensure that we come together and put aside whatever differences we may have for the sake of this country, to redeem this country. We can't continue like this. This must come to an end. How should we live in Zambia? From being a beacon of peace, not just regionally, globally, now to being a beacon of violence. For those who have traveled abroad, like I've been privileged, when you go out there, I remember when I became member of parliament in 2011 to 2016, before PF collapsed the economy, parliament sent us out to various parts of the country, in the various parts of the world. And when you go out there, there were two things for me that stood out. That when you say, oh, I'm member of parliament from Zambia, at break, people would talk about two things. The peace that Zambia enjoyed in the region and on the globe. And two, people would ask you, how is Kenneth Kaunda? Because of that peace. People would also ask you, how is Kalusha Bwali? Because he excelled in football at global level. Those are the things that people knew about Zambia. Not hacking people, bangers, standing on money to say if we're leader. No, people didn't know that. But that's where PF has gotten us. We ask for an alliance, not just a UPND-C alliance. We ask for an alliance with the people of Zambia. With you, the media, let us have a people's alliance to deliver this country once and for all. Let us remove these lunatics. We've had enough drama to drag a beautiful country into ridicule where we are now. Let's say no to it. Thank you very much. Frank, maybe you have something to say.
Thank you very much, Chair. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, first of all, sorry that I came in late. I thought that I needed to come through and support my brother in his quest to bring the plight of UPND officials who have been arrested now way beyond the constitutional requirement of 48 hours. It is a human right that once the police have an issue with a citizen, they cannot detain somebody beyond 48 hours without charge. I just want to highlight and say that this is a clear violation of these citizens' rights, and also take this opportunity to say that the vision of President Hakainde Hichilema, as he has witnessed all these violations on citizens such as the ones currently in detention, but also on himself. For many a time, President HH has been detained for no apparent reason, and that the UPND, through the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, has thought through these violations, and we do not wish that even once we have taken over government, that citizens ought to continue to suffer such repression and oppression from their own government. And it is for this reason that the president had carefully thought through and thought that he creates a unique position never before seen on the political landscape. And this is a position of chairman governance, which position I'm privileged to be chair. I want to say that we envisage that even as the PF today continue to violate our rights, this culture will come to an end once President HH is sworn in on August 12th. We shall respect human rights, and that the police, who are currently being used as tools of oppression, shall work professionally. Not what we are seeing today. We ought to remind our colleagues, fellow citizens, those that are in PF and are currently abusing their authority, that governments come and go, and that once you violate rights, the common practice in Africa is that such, be retaliated once government has switched. That will not be the case. Those that are breaking laws today will have to face the due process of the law. The UPND government will not come and settle scores. Anyone who has committed a crime will answer to law enforcement. This is what governance ought to be. Let not political players use institutions of governance, such as the police, to settle scores. Now, it does not take a rocket scientist to see that this government, in its last days, is truly up to no good. You saw how they went into Shibuyunji. That is where it started from. Went and harassed villagers in Shibuyunji for no apparent reason whatsoever. And that beyond Shibuyunji now we see our officials being arrested, detained for no reason. This is a very, very sad development indeed. And we know that PF agents posing as policemen have thrown away their professional ethos to carry out such distasteful instructions. We have also seen that instead of concentrating on laws that would enhance freedoms in this country, laws such as the Freedom of Information Bill, which the PF have vehemently denied, neglected, and or refused to enact, they now bring forth the Cyber Security Bill, as my colleague has stated, hastily signed and brought into effect. I wish to reiterate and echo Chairman information that please, UPND officials out there, countrywide, let us take heed Chairman's call that let us be responsible in the information that we throw out on social media. We are the targets. But that even as we are targets, we also know that the PF will be the worst culprits of this particular law, because we've seen what PF ministers, PF members throw on social media. And it will be a test to those in authority, to the police, to be impartial as they seek to follow culprits of this law. Ladies and gentlemen, even as Zambia's good governance record is bad as it is, we continue through this inept government to draw this country further down the governance abyss. It is extremely sad, but that as your incoming government, we pledge that life in Zambia will change and change for the better. As my colleague has stated, one of the very first acts that the new president, post-August 12, will do is to come and repeal these very, very bad and oppressive laws. Journalists, you are called the fourth estate. In my view, you ought to be capable to help ordinary citizens out there disseminate the right information. I guess one of these days we'll come back and elucidate further on these bad governance issues. As of today, I thought I could share this platform with Chairman information to try and contextualize what is happening in this country as matters that are bordering squarely on governance, which record this PF government has scored very poorly. Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to share these sentiments with our colleagues. I'm most grateful.
Thank you very much, Chairman Governance. My brother here, Frank Tayari, at least the Tayaris who are good people. You know that he's also a lawyer. So that is the background. Now, let me end by stating and putting it squarely that the cybersecurity law, which President Lungu enacted last week by assenting to it, is a very obnoxious law that is not just targeted at the UPND. It is actually very bad law for you media people. You are the ones who are in a tendency of receiving and sending certain informations that amount to news. You are the ones. Your space has been closed down. Let us rise to the occasion on the 12th of August 2021. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mweetwa. Thank you very much, Honorable Tayari there. Thanks very much for sharing information with the press, with the country, of course. In case there is any question, just your name, media house, and then which is addressed to Honorable Tayari or Honorable Mweetwa.
My name is Tito Kalana. I would like to beg your indulgence, Honorable Mweetwa.
Which institution, sir?
Spring TV, Spring 2014. I'd like to beg your indulgence, Honorable Mweetwa. Just run me through the list of the detained members, your detained members and their destination.
Oh, thank you very much. The people who are detained, it's Honorable Sejan, former Minister of Local Governments under the MMD administration. We do have the Mayor for Choma, Javens Moloka. We do have the Mayor for Mazabuka, Vincent Landa, and the businessman from Choma, Mr. Fines Malambo. Beyond that, we do have other members. If you go to Kabwata, you will find Lusaka Provincial District, the Lusaka District IPS, Likwanya Matomora. He's there. Detained, I think, somewhere Tuesday to date. Not taken to court, but just bundled in there. Why? Because on his phone, it was found that police alleged that he was streaming something where someone appeared to have, been using demeaning or derogatory words against His Excellency, President Edgar Lungu. You can see, even before the cybersecurity bill comes into place, that is what is happening. What about now? So it is not just, that. We have had a lot of people detained. In the Western Province, for instance, in Lolo, an entire youth wing had been detained for more than 1 week. No police bond, no nothing. These are acts of jitteriness on the part of our colleagues. But we are very upbeat as UPND. We are upbeat. We can now disclose to you, the media friends, that you see, yes, we performed very well in 2016. There was a lot of malpractice in 2016 by the Patriotic Front. But at that time, we were actually telling the people that we are winning elections. This time, it's the people telling us. That's the difference. And we do hope that people will keep their word. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, Honorable Mweetwa and Councillor Tayari. My name is Nchumi and I'm from Diamond TV. Diamond TV.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking about abolishing the qualifications for one to stand on the UPND ticket, one might think maybe you don't have people with the required results to stand. That's the more reason why you have taken this route of abolishing those qualification limitations. Just your quick reactions to that.
Yes, my name is Pamela from TV. Just a follow-up to...
From? Movie? Oh.
Yes, Honorable, I want to get explanation when you talk about the main qualification for one to be a doctor should have a good relationship with the people, which is very good. But we find that there is some clash where maybe another candidate is not so much popular, has a good relationship perhaps with the structures. Is this an indication that want to suppress perhaps the loyalty of somebody who wants to stand? And then secondly, what is surrounding the voter registration, the new voters that has been produced? There is a clarion call for independent audit, considering the fact that we remain with few months to go. I don't know how this would be ideal, or would you go for it? I thank you.
Final question. Your name is Manuel Honorable. My name is Joseph Tamari Banda from QFM Radio and TV. Mine is just a rider to her question. What criteria are you going to use to determine one's popularity on the ground? When we know very well that the Public Order Act, coupled with SI 21 and 22 on the prescribed COVID-19 measures, hasn't worked very well for the opposition.
Thank you very much. My brother here will will respond to her. She's the chairman of governance, and I think those are issues squarely bordering on governance. But to respond to the first questioner, the issue of abolishing qualifications, is it because we don't have candidates? I think I did indicate that on average we have 4 candidates per constituency, 4 applicants per constituency, even before we add in the list from NDC. So candidates are there. The issue is this: the party, UPND, is a listening party. You have to listen to what the people are saying. This rule, and I can categorize now, we have a lot of people from PF who are saying with this rule, some of us, how are we going to participate? Because we will not have been in the party for 2 years. And we have to listen. The Constitution allows, I think it's Article 20, freedom of association, meaning you can be from PF today, tomorrow you want to join UPND, you must enjoy the same rights as those who have been in UPND for 22 years. That's what UPND is. The country is too big for members of the UPND who have been there for a while to think that they must be the only one to use this platform to govern the country. The country is too big. Everyone is welcome. That's a party policy. Everyone is welcome. That's why I even say, even those who are just leaving the civil service, everyone is welcome. Those who will not be adopted by PF, in an event that they are stronger than our preferred candidate, we will give them adoption. This is about everyone participating. We don't want to put artificial rules. That's why we are respecting what the people will say. And to answer the last question, how shall we determine the popularity of somebody? There will be primary elections. We undergo primary elections. And those primary elections will determine who is popular. But there will be circumstances where someone has won the primary election, but is not adopted. It happens. There could be some other information, or there could be another candidate, as the situation will be. We have candidates now from NDC, from PF, and the problem you are going to be having with me is to tell you the truth. That's the problem. As things stand now, some of our candidates have filed on the PF ticket for a reason which I want to disclose. But we have enough candidates. I think for now, let me leave it at that. My brother, you can come through.
Thank you very much. I think, as the English saying goes, once bitten, twice shy. The UPND has perfected the art of adoption in line with what the expectations of the Zambian people are. By so saying, I want to say that there are a number of areas that we will be looking at. Of course, those that are in good standing with the party, we also expect that, candidates ought to be resourceful in order for them to mount an effective campaign. We also want to look at what the community in a particular area have to say about candidates. So one's popularity also ought to go beyond the confines of the party popularity. So we are working with the grassroots, and we shall, as much as possible, endeavor to listen to what the grassroots have to say. We ought to get it right so that the people of Zambia who have raised the expectations of the UPND and it forming government are not disappointed. So on that particular score, I just want to tell you that we have a rigorous process that we're going to employ that ought to come out with indeed the most preferred candidates to be able to take on these fellows that will be competing with from the other side, meaning the PF. In an environment where suddenly there's dubiously acquired wealth which is being thrown left, right, and center to the electorates, we need candidates who may not necessarily and will not encourage our members to do the same, because nobody throws away hard-earned money. But we need people that can articulate and educate the masses out there that the reasons we are not having medicines in hospitals, the reasons why our children are not going to school, the reasons why so much of the so-called infrastructure being thrown out at the people out there is of substandard quality is because of these monies that suddenly find their way on the streets, in the markets, and in all manner of places. Trust me when I tell you that the UPND is ready. We've done our homework, and we'll come out of the adoption process more united. Just like we came out of our convention, more united than ever. There's been no squabbles. We are, in fact, going to work with everybody. You heard the president say that out of that, conference, there were no winners, there were no losers. The same process will be employed in the adoption scheme of things. So this party has learned a great deal, and now we're putting an almost perfect, adoption process that will see even those that will not be adopted come on the bandwagon, and that together we will not let the people of Zambia down, but instead we will have resounding success. And that success will not be for UPND. That success is for the people of Zambia. This election is not just about UPND. It's the PF versus the Zambian people, whom have been given a raw deal, despite so many rhetoric promises of more money in people's pockets. What we see, in fact, is the converse, which is true, that the people of Zambia have wallowed in poverty more than we have seen in the recent past. I think today's events, today's poverty, is reminiscent, for those of you that are old enough, to the 1988 period of the end of days of UNIP, when the country had collapsed. And this is the resurgence of the collapse that we are seeing today. Thank you very much.
Okay, due to time, I think, in case there is any pressing.
No, there's one hand there, maybe we can quickly attend to it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's just a clarity, since there's no time I want to ask. Oh my God, did you say, I'm Msika from Zambia, did you say some UPND members have filed under the PF ticket? Your last point?
Yes.
Okay, they filed for adoption?
Yes.
Okay.
You will see what will happen soon. Now, let me conclude by saying the following. Because you are my friends, you know me.
Honorable, maybe as you conclude, apologies.
Not a problem.
There is one once about the white car, just think, there's a white car, I just want to leave now, I have used that.
Okay, not a problem. Someone will pass that car? Okay, thank you. Now, my last comment, and I promise this will be my last comment, colleagues from the media. And it is not necessary, but I have to say it because you have been my friends for 15 years now that I have been deputy spokesperson of the UPND. Yeah? You, the colleagues in the media, have been my friends. I've been receiving phone calls from some of you and from many people. Are you recontesting in Choma? I want to state that I have not applied to stand. The chairman elections has been adding days, and now I think we are remaining with another 5 days. I haven't applied. Most likely, I will not recontest. I am more concerned about UPND and HH forming government. I've been a member of parliament for 10 years. There is no joy in being a member of parliament when the majority of the citizens are suffering. If there is a job that you only discover when you are there that is a bad job, it is being a member of parliament and you have a government like PF where they are enjoying themselves but the people are suffering. That has led me to where I am. I'm most likely not going to recontest Choma Central constituency. I want to dedicate my efforts to ensure that HH and the UPND form the next government. I will be a very sad person to exit politics and leave a government like PF in office. It would have been a futile endeavor on my part to have been in politics. From day one when I left university, straight away, I left university on the 13th of November 2005. And on the 15th of November 2005, 3 days later, I had a briefing at the UPND Secretariat to join active politics from being Unzaso president. I want change, and I hope we are in agreement with the rest of the people. So, those who are contesting in Choma, I wish them well. This is time for change. Thank you very much.
So, in connection with the same, do you think it's a good idea for especially there's a call from the youth that senior serving members of parliament, for example, should have way for youths to apply to their adopted. What's your view on that one?
That call is highly misplaced. That call is highly misplaced. Me, when I became a member of parliament 10 years ago, no one paved the way for me. I had to go and wrestle the seat from someone and from other people. No one left it to say, no, now there is a young person, come and get it. Work for it. This idea that youth should think that someone should pave way for them does not make sense. That is the reason we have an inept government. Because people think that someone should do them a favor. It is you to fight for what you want. In politics, no one gives you what you deserve if you don't fight for it. Joe Biden, the President of the United States of America today, has been a member of parliament, what they call there a senator, for 48 years. What about 20 years of Jackie Mwindu to become an issue? Joe Biden has been a member of parliament for 48 years. He is now president. And I'm sure with that reservoir of experience, he is steering the nation in the right direction. We should not begin to open unnecessary battles. How many people in that parliament have been in parliament for 20 years? Only 2. Jackie Mwindu and Given Mwinda. Only 2. And how many times has Jackie Mwindu stood on the floor of the House when the House is about to veer off from its traditions and rules and customs? To say, no, Mr. Speaker. I remember, Mr. Speaker, that we have had this situation. This is not how it is done. We need that institutional memory transformation. Jackie Mwindu is a tutor. He is no longer an ordinary member of parliament. He is a tutor to teach young parliamentarians, including those from PF, how to become a member of parliament, an effective member of parliament. The problem we have in parliament is that PF has brought a lot of dunderheads into parliament. and has reduced the caliber of parliament. That's why now everyone who wakes up, they can think they can go to parliament. Because of the caliber PF has brought. So, Jack Mweetwa has his own place in parliament. He's a tutor. Even the speaker, has learned one or two things from Jack Mweetwa because of his experience. The Americans say, do not fix it if it ain't broken. There is nothing wrong Jack Mweetwa has done other than teaching us in parliament. And I think if the people of Monze still want him, me, I will support him as an individual, not as a party spokesman, as an individual. I will support Jack Mweetwa. Because we have a country to transform and we need seasoned minds. People who know where we've come from and where we want to take the nation to. Thank you, colleagues.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, BAF 6140, please, late for whoever has started that career.